one of the key hormones to building muscle. But it's also linked to, mental health, the ability for your body to fight disease. Unfortunately, he had problems with his erections for a couple months after. And that's like scary shit, you know what I mean? I see a jack dude at the gym. I watch a YouTube video about taking SARMs.
I really doubt the natty guy who got a jack naturally is going to tell you, fuck off.
Water Buffalo TM is back with another Buff Talk.
3, 2, 1. Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Old School Matt here. I am joined again by our boy Chris Vidal. We're back with another Buff Talk podcast. But before we get into the podcast, everybody out there, go make sure to go check out Chris's new lifting page, Lapu Lifts. And real quick, Chris, what is Lapu and why'd you come up with that name before we get into this podcast?
Alrighty, so we're going to fast forward back to history class. We're middle schoolers. You learn about an explorer called Magellan, and he's the man who circumnavigated the whole globe. When he landed in my home country, or my mom's home country, the Philippines, he got in some trouble with the locals. And basically, in a little war, this war chief, Lapu, for War Club, bashed his brains in. So, in a sense, for the Philippines, the source of native pride is Lapu, this war chief who kind of fought back the invaders. He's seen as a very buff and muscular man, and that's what I strive to be. And in all my clients, I strive to make them like Lapu.
Interesting, bro. Yeah, it's a super dope name. I just wanted to shout Chris out real quick before we get into the topic for the podcast today. Always a pleasure to be joined by Chris. We have amazing conversations. But yeah, let's just get into it. Today we wanted to talk about different insecurities in the gym. This is something that a lot of people struggle with when they get into the gym, especially newbies, I would say, men and women alike. And we can't speak for our woman counterpart because we don't have a woman to join our podcast, but we're going to be talking about the different men and their insecurities when they get into the gym and what type of implications these might have on their life, their impact on their mood, and also their ability to stay in the gym, because a lot of times I feel like this can impact someone's ability to stay consistent with the way they work out. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, the anxiety and insecurity definitely, it's one of the first real obstacles to a person working out. It's, that feeling of walking in like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think that one of the biggest things for me when I first joined the gym was kind of like comparing myself to everyone else out there, working out wise and, doing their different things and not really fully understanding that everybody's body's different. You know what I mean? I think that everybody, for some degree, when they get into the gym, if they have that kind of like go-getter mindset, they get put into a state to where they start to get competitive with everyone else around them, not realizing that the gym is like a linear graph. Like we get better as time goes on. And a lot of times, men especially, we're competitive. We see other guys that are bigger than us, are stronger than us, look better than us, and we can get insecure sometimes. What was like your experience when you first started getting into the gym?
Exactly what you just said when it comes to, I came in with that kind of go-getter mentality from martial arts and studying Taekwondo, but I had the gusto, I had the go-getter mentality, but I made the mistake of trying to compare myself to...
If you want real quick, you could flip that, here, turn it this way.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, there you go.
I basically compared myself a lot to the people around me in this gym, actually, in Stonehaven with Chris Fortunato and Lawrence.
Oh, really?
We were all three of us were like, yo, we're going to become the biggest guys ever. Yeah. And we would literally look at each other and every time like outdo each other. But we didn't know it back then. But the truth is, it's just really, whoever gets the most gains is the one who stays in it the longest. It's not this one exercise I'm going to push everything I have. I got to find a way to stay consistent.
And that's how a lot of problems actually stir up in the gym in my opinion. A lot of times people, they get into this mentality that like, I got to outdo the other guy. I got to do this. I got to do that. And there's like many ways we can get into the different parts of this, but we can start off with the first thing. And the first thing I would say is like injuries, right? Like a lot of times we get injured because we do stupid things. And I could think of a couple times where I've tweaked some things. One of my main biggest injuries was because I was working out with somebody who was a lot stronger than me at the time. And I was probably a year or 2 years into the whole workout game. But I didn't quite fully understand the stressors that come with like, maxing out on deadlifts and whatnot. And just working out with somebody who's obviously way more experienced than myself, I kind of outdid myself and ended up putting myself back like a year and a half. That's just like one of the risks that are involved in kind of comparing yourself and having this like mentality that you want to get it right away. But this could be something, if I didn't really love the gym, I could have just, been hurt and then used that as a crutch the rest of my life, never worked out again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely think that that's a risk that's there. Another one is that a lot of people start taking things that, can kind of harm their health, whether that be starting to get into questionable supplements. Fat burners is like a big one. A lot of like pudgier dudes. I never got like into that. I've actually never taken a fat burner before, but I know a lot of guys my age that were around like my body type when they started working out. When they saw people that were more shredded than themselves and whatnot, they started to get like on fat burners like right away. I don't know if you ever come across that before.
No, I actually have tried fat burners.
Yeah. And for the same reason?
Exactly the same reason. I literally looked at other dudes who were more lean, more ripped, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I just need that little edge and I'll be just like them. And it really did. I didn't understand at the time, but those dudes were just more disciplined with their diet.
Yeah, 100%. Did they ever fuck you up?
No. I mean, in terms of like, oh, you mean the
fat burn?
Yeah. Honestly, I would say it put me back a good 2 to 3 years in learning how to actually figure out my metabolism and stay at the physique I want.
Which ones do you take? Like, do you remember any of them specifically?
I don't remember the brands. I used to just go to that Total Nutrition nearby and just get like, I did it for like a year, like the fat burners, but it literally wrecked my metabolism, or at least it kind of made me overeat the next few years because I was eating with that mentality of still being on a fat burner. So then in that point for a few years, I was definitely a little bit more pudgy than I wanted to be. I was like fit.
Yeah. And that's like probably the least problematic supplement you can probably take. Maybe not the least, but there's a lot of other things, and we'll get into that too, is like people start taking things like that are a step above. So I would say fat burners are like kind of harmful because there's a lot of caffeine.
It's like the gateway.
Yeah,
drug.
yeah. So and that's the problem with people, is that a lot of times nowadays with the accessibility to SARMs and pro hormones, for people who don't know what those are, they're, to put it in like layman's terms, basically just like a step below steroids type of thing. And there's a lot of people out there saying that they're safe, which I'm sure that they are safer in some areas than taking steroids, but there's also a lot of risk that comes with them as well. And like I was showing you the other day, my buddy or one of my friends sent me a message for a post I made about how he took a SARM, and the kid's probably never really worked out that seriously in his whole life. And he kind of just took it probably off a limb to try to get big. And unfortunately, he had problems with his erections for a couple months after. And that's like scary shit. You know what I mean?
Dude, those are some massive consequences.
Yeah. And that all comes from just being like, I see a jack dude at the gym. I watch a YouTube video about taking SARMs and how this is safe. And not a lot of people know that these people that make these videos are getting money or getting kickbacks from whatever they're selling. And then, these guys go out there and take these SARMs, these pro hormones, and they end up fucking themselves. And, it could be just for a couple months, but there are cases where it can happen for years at a time and potentially mess up your sperm count, your sperm quality for the rest of your life,
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of dangerous things that come from just trying to take shortcuts for what we said before is supposed to be a long and arduous journey.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say is something that you would tell somebody out there that is first starting the gym, or let's just say they're beginner, intermediate? Because Chris actually is a personal trainer for his occupation right now, so he's got different people he works with pretty much full time, right?
Yeah.
And he's obviously going to see a bunch of different people on a day-to-day basis. So like, what was something you would talk to, let's say a guy in his early 20s, maybe late teens, that's like getting into the gym and he's like wants to take something like this? And then we'll get into like the whole steroid talk after, but let's just say he wants to take like a SARM or a pro hormone, or maybe even as low as like a fat burner, and he's not ready.
So definitely what I'll say is that depending on what they want, whether they want more muscle mass, or the more real common one is I want to lose the fat on top of me, right? At the end of the day, I always tell them, because I usually ask them like, who do you want to look like, right? And usually it's like something kind of doable, like I want to look like Zac Efron, or I want to look like this. And I'm like, okay, that's a movie, right? I bet you if we cut you down right now and then maybe cut you down to 10% or 15%, and then we added only 10 more pounds of muscle, I bet you'd look happy with the way you look 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
And you wouldn't need this gear, these SARMs, these your hormones do not need to be boosted
Definitely.
at all. And I try to explain the science in the most simple way and I can. And I warn them that if you do this, you might not be able to get off it. You might have to keep taking it now that you've given. It's kind of like if you feed an alligator, right? And you feed him every day. He's going to just keep coming back. Eventually, he's going to lose his way of learning how to hunt. He's going to become lazy. And your body is exactly the same way when it comes to if you just start giving it testosterone and it doesn't have to produce its own. Now, what happens when you're off it?
Definitely.
And you're not producing testosterone?
Yeah,
in the
100%.
Same natural way. You're going to be, quite frankly, a lesser version of yourself. And you're going to be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And this is not me judging anyone who has. I have a lot of empathy and I get it. But every shortcut has a cost. Nothing in this life comes for free. And sometimes you don't even know what you're paying for, but you're still going to pay it.
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, a lot of these hormonal imbalances that come from taking stuff like steroids or potentially SARMs, pro hormones for sure, they come with long-term side effects that could potentially ruin your life at some point. You know, there's areas of your health that are impacted by your hormone levels, like everything else in life. And unlike anything else, in introducing exogenous hormones into the way that your body functions on a day-to-day basis can absolutely have some long-term side effects that will potentially last forever. Like, let's just say testosterone, for example, like simple example. So people that are watching that know, men that are watching that know, is a typical, intro steroid. People are going to take tests, right? They're going to take testosterone. They're going to raise their hormone levels. Well, testosterone is not only linked to the muscle building process. Of course, that's like one of the key factors, one of the key hormones to building muscle, but it's also linked to, mental health, the ability for your body to fight disease, to be able to regulate other hormones that can also help you fight disease. It's just a whole slew of things that can be impacted by such a small little cycle, 8 weeks, that you never know what can actually happen. And the biggest thing that comes from testosterone is, aside from all the, let's just say, important health factors, is your sex drive, right? Yeah. Testosterone impacts your sex drive. If you're taking tests and you happen to not have the best, and this is the thing, the men that take testosterone, for the most part, typically like the ones that want to, get big, quick, sort of things, they're typically the type of people, and no disrespect, that potentially have lower test levels before they even get into it. You know what I mean? Because they're typically the people with the bad genetics or like lesser genetics. Like no, and not trying to be like racist or prejudiced in here.
They haven't reached their genetic potential.
Yeah. But like rarely you see black dudes go take steroids unless they're pro bodybuilders.
That's a good point.
I know some of them that do. Don't get me wrong, but it's typically, and I'm not trying to be racial or prejudiced here, but it's typically like your typical frat boy or like party kid who's Caucasian American. And why? Because a lot of times those are the men who have not low testosterone, but on the spectrum, if we look at all the ethnicities, they're in the mid to low range. So by introducing this testosterone, their body already is not used to having high levels of test. So when their body gets this, they're going to kind of like grab onto it. And then when they're off of it, their body's used to being, given the aid. It's going to be even harder for them to come back from the side effects that happen with this type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's really where it hurts them the most, because you've basically made, like going back to the alligator allegory, you already have a really bad alligator at hunting. And now you're going to feed him for free. What is that alligator going to do without the food and you giving it to him? It's just going to not make anything.
Exactly.
And then there goes bye-bye the rock hard erections you need for the girl of your dreams you just met.
And typically a lot of these guys do this for women, right? Yeah, they do it to get girls. Exactly. I mean, and it'll feel like I've never taken testosterone. Have you ever taken anything like SARMs or anything like that?
Nope, I was always too pussy, and
yeah,
I'm glad this is one of the things I can say. I'm too pussy to take.
Yeah, no, I remember I took a pre-workout supplement one time, and it was like, I don't know if you ever taken GAT Nitroflex.
No, never.
That stuff was a shit. It made you feel like you're on drugs. But I remember like it had like all these pre-workouts have like test enhancing and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, this is all bullshit. I mean, they fucking put ingredients in there that are linked to studies that show you can get stronger, and then they automatically say you're going to increase your testosterone. But I remember taking that, and then I got so fucking scared. I was like 15 or 16 because I had known like bodybuilders at the time. I was super into bodybuilding, and the older bodybuilders would even be like, if you're young, do not take steroids because it's going to fuck you up. And I remember seeing that on the pre-workout, and I was like freaking out thinking that something was going to happen to me. Obviously nothing did, but you know, like that's another thing I forgot to mention. I was going to mention too, is like, there's the fat burners. There's also test boosters that people take.
Really? I didn't know about test boosters.
You never heard of test boosters before? No. I mean, there's like herbs and stuff like that, which I don't think are the worst thing in the world. Like
maca. You're talking about, this is probably the same kind of ingredients in those like rhino pills and those stuff like that.
Stuff like that. But some of these test boosters have like different derivatives of testosterone. So like people, like these supplement companies will go out there and make like basically a replica of like a testosterone hormone molecule, and they'll like rename it and then they'll put it in there. And the thing is about these companies that they put it out there for a year, the FDA goes and bans it, and then they just go make another replica. It's the same shit, and then they reformulate, put it out there again. No, I mean, some test boosters aren't bad. Like I've taken maca before. I don't know if you ever taken maca.
I never have, no.
Yeah, it's like a Peruvian, it's not an herb, it's like a powder of some sort.
Oh, I've seen that in stores. Is it good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. But it's more for like, I mean, I took it because my grandmother used to give it to us when we were younger in our oatmeal, the maca powder.
Really?
It's supposed to like give you energy. But apparently there's like some studies, or some of them claim that it can like help you have better sex drive or something. But I mean, you got to take everything like that with a grain of salt. You know, like I take nootropics, but I don't expect them to give me like Adderall like results. You know what I mean?
I have my own herbal supplements for testosterone for sure. So
Yeah.
I get you.
No, I mean, you can take all that in the world, and I think those are actually, you know, great. And that's a whole nother topic for another day. But like once you start getting into like the area of, you know, chemically compounded testosterone enhancers or SARMs or prohormones, that's where you start to get a little bit, you know, messy. Because I'm not against anyone taking like ashwagandha. I've heard that's good.
Yeah,
It helps. Maca. I don't know any other test enhancers. I think like Yohimbe, I think, or that's a fat burner. I don't know. There's some other shit out there.
It's also that too, actually.
Is it?
For testosterone,
okay, yeah.
But the thing with these is that if you take these, it's not like, let's say you take ashwagandha and then your stress is gone.
Yeah, and your dick's fucking...
It's like, it's a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the thing. You're not really taking a lot of risk. You're not getting that much reward.
Exactly.
Here's the problem. You're trying to get these crazy, basically magic, like testosterone, like shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to pay for that. And that's your future.
100%. Anything that has, I mean, like even if we take caffeine, for example, like anything with a high reward always comes with a high cost or a risk somewhat associated with that high reward, right? Like if I'm going to go on a really low calorie diet, yeah, I'm going to get shredded, but I'm going to feel like crap, right?
Yep.
Everything that has a high reward will have some sort of risk associated with that high reward. And that's what a lot of people don't really understand, that when they get into this mindset. And it literally comes by just shaping someone's way of understanding how working out works. You know, if and the problem is that we see a lot of people on social media or like, you know, just in the gyms and whatnot, preaching that the gym is easy and like you can get ripped quick, sort of thing. Like these kind of like slogans that get people to think like, oh yeah, if I just take this pill or if I just do this, I'll get shredded real quick. And you might if you take the right stuff, but you're going to get out of it real fast too, you know?
Yeah.
Like you could become a millionaire really quick, or you can make a bunch of money at the casino real quick. All you have to do is just bring money in there and gamble. But there's a high chance that you lose the money right away, or even if you get the money, you go back, you lose it again.
Yep, you don't even know what you're doing with it.
Exactly, and that's a problem that a lot of people, you know, kind of going back to our original topic and tying everything together, is like when you have these like insecurities or you have these like this mentality that you're just going to hop into the gym and in the first 3 months you're going to look like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's a tough pill to swallow, but I think that, you know, the more that you talk to people, and I'm talking to people out there that have been in the gym. So if you know somebody who's like going to the gym and whatnot, and it's their first time and they're asking you questions or they want to go with you, you know, just spread them a little bit of this knowledge, because I think a lot of people don't really understand the true, I guess, work that goes into, you know, getting a nice physique.
A lot of guys don't. And, you know, the most ironic part about this is that, let's say the guy with the best physique in the room and he's worked for it. He hasn't taken anything. He hasn't taken nothing. That guy is probably, if you ask him, like, hey, how did you get to this point? I really doubt the natty guy who got a jack naturally is going to tell you, fuck off. He's going to literally probably tell you everything.
Yeah, but he'll probably sit down with you for like 20 minutes and fucking want to work out with you. Exactly.
And then he'll literally, that's like the nicest guy is actually what they're most anxious and like insecure about. Like that guy. But that guy who's gone through the work, he's the most likely to try and help him out.
Exactly. Did you have anybody like that kind of gave you the knowledge about like the workout scene, or did you figure it out yourself?
The first person who I think really taught me how to work out was probably my grandmaster in Taekwondo, Master Pope.
Okay.
And this dude is just like an Argentinian gorilla. Like this dude is just a rock. Like you can't hurt him if you tried. But he pretty much laid the foundations for me in calisthenics and like renegade rows of like weird like jugs and stuff like that. But then this martial arts studio was in a gym. And I had free access to the gym, actually. So literally he was like, yeah, let's go work out. And he only spent one workout with me. It just showed me a few things.
Really?
He's like, yeah, just do these things. And less than like 5 minutes. And from that point, it was pull-ups, it was bench, and I think it was lunges at the time. Lunges was just better for like what he wanted it from me as an athlete. But I worked on those things and they gave me a solid foundation for where I'm at right now.
This is a random thought, but I'm not doing legs tonight. I'm going to do chest and back. I just thought about it. But I had someone like that too. It was a guy named Patrick. I actually want to have him here on a podcast one day. He's super cool dude, bro. I'll show you his physique after. He's like probably one of the most knowledgeable guys when it comes to working out. Unfortunately, he's very like COVID scared.
Oh.
So he's like, I asked him to ask him to do a podcast like twice, but he's very like, you know, he's like that, so he doesn't want to see anybody and stuff. But if you're watching this, Patrick, step out of your comfort zone. You already have the vaccine. Just come by. Let's do a podcast. Because he was, dude, his mentality and philosophy about training, not so much diet. His diet stuff was kind of weird. I never really like followed what he talked about with diet. But his training philosophy and the exercises and the way he structured his workouts, like, still carries me to this day.
Really?
Yeah. Like I specifically train the way I train because of this dude. Him and Rich Piana meshed together. Like their training mentalities where I get all my knowledge from and where I like kind of do my own spin off with this stuff. And I think in that those two people came from, you said you asked him to work out or he asked you to work out?
Oh, he asked, I kind of asked him. This was like probably more than 15 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. How old were you?
Oof, I was young. I'd say around 11. 13.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like I went up to this guy at the gym and asked him like,
really?
for some help. And like Rich Piana, who's an online guy, I went and looked it out myself. But kind of like what I'm trying to say here is that you probably have somebody in your circle. If you're someone watching this and you're like, even if you're in the intermediate level, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out here who they're not beginners. They're not like someone like me and you who have been doing this for a little while, but they do still feel like they're not making the results that they want to make. And a lot of the times it's like, a lot of times you'll see gains right away, and then it takes a little while to see more gains. You know what I mean? Like the newbie gains is real, and then sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but then you start seeing more and more and more gains. And the reason is because you start to develop knowledge. But if you're somebody out there who doesn't have the ability or doesn't have the desire to really want to learn more, because obviously me and you have a desire to want to do this type of stuff. You did the NASM certification. You've been training for a long time. I've been doing this and whatnot. But ask somebody is what I'm trying to say. You know, like there's plenty of people out there, older dudes, especially older dudes. Like when I say older, I mean like above the age of like 27, 28 years old. A lot of times they go to the gym, not for their own like sake of working out and getting in shape, but a lot of times they go there because they want to have a social area too. Especially the older guys like 40, 50, 60.
Yeah, they love it.
They love it because, I mean, at that age, what else do you have to do if you're not working or whatever? You know, you kind of want to just be in the environment you love being around. And then if you go to ask them, they'll probably even offer to train with you for free. Like they'll offer to give you their knowledge for free. And that's what Patrick did to me. And it was a great fucking thing because I learned so much from just talking to somebody, you know?
Yeah. And something I tell people who are in this intermediate stage as we talk about, once you're a few years in, I feel like everyone gets this kind of point, and I certainly went for this, where you're like, all right, I look good. People tell me I look good, but I know I could look better. And not only that, I know I'm not at my goal yet, but I'm super close to it. And this is where it's really important to really stick in and really dig in your heels and keep going, because it's going to take a few more years of you figuring out yourself and your body and what you like and don't like. And it's going to, once you invest that time, you're going to get to that point where you can eat generally the types of foods you want, and you know how to moderate your own calories and portions, and you know when exercises are good for you and your body and not good for you. When you're in that intermediate stage, it honestly becomes the easiest to quit, in my opinion. I know habits are set after a year, but I think after a few years of someone's physique not changing that much, it gets super easy to get discouraged. And that's where you get a lot of this is what I call like the medium crew in a gym. It's like the people who they've lost a bit of the hope because they didn't truly figure it out, you know?
Yeah, they're like, and that's the thing. It happens in like, not just the gym, but I've heard this happens in business too. Like people, like they get past like the first stages of like the test of like starting your own business or doing business, whatever you do. And then they do well. And then they hit like a stump for like a couple of years.
Yeah.
And if they were to just get through that stump, they would become successful beyond what they ever believed, but they always stop there. And the same thing in the gym. I mean, the first year you see incredible gains.
Yeah.
Literally anybody who starts working out that has some sort of diet can get into incredible shape. And then year 1, 2, and 3 after that is like for me it wasn't like that, because I was lucky that I was being trained by that dude. I had good like people around me. I was very invested into learning about fitness because I have a passion for it. Mm-hmm. But if you don't, I could definitely see how you get stuck.
Yeah.
Because after a little while, your body gets used to what you're doing, and then you have to start amping things up. And then, like you were saying too, people get stuck in that middle phase. And what happens is that they quit, like maybe say year 2, and then they start over, but they don't start over to where they were in the beginning, where they see those gains all over again. They start over kind of like in the middle of that middle phase. So they don't see gains anymore when they start over. So they like try it for a little bit and they jump off again. Then they go back to the beginning where they're like, not getting those newbie gains as much anymore. They gain a little bit, they get really happy, and then they see nothing again, then they go back. So it's like they're stuck in this like mid area if they were to just kind of flourish. I think now, obviously me and you, we don't see like crazy gains every day or every month or every week.
It takes time for me.
Yeah, it takes time now because we've been doing it for so long. You've been working out for what, 10 years?
12
years. I've been working out for like 10 years. And like now it's become more of just like a for fun thing,
It's definitely more of a fun, let me push my limits.
Yeah.
But I push my limits knowing that I have to push my limits 10 times more than I used to when I was a newbie, just because it really takes that long. And a lot of these people we're talking about in the intermediate phases, they're older. They quit, gave up for 5 years, let's say, right? And then this is when they finally decided to get serious about it again. They're 5 years older. Their metabolism has slowed down a bit because they haven't been eating that great. They just went back to, they call it, this is so weird, but I see this differentiation in Americans between gym life and a normal life. Why is not a normal life one where someone goes to the gym?
Yeah.
That is crazy, but literally people see it that way. And I see it a lot of my clients where, I'm finally getting back into this gym life. And I'm just like,
yeah, right now for me, like the fact that I am not like obsessed with working out as much as I used to be is weird for me. Now that I have other things going on for myself other than just working out, because I'm sure there was a phase in your life where when you were in school or whatever it might be, where you're like, your main focus when you woke up every day was going to the gym.
Yeah, literally the first focus for all my university was like, I have to go to the gym to stay sane first, and then I'll handle what else comes.
Yeah. Now that me and you both have, careers, jobs, whatever you want to call it.
Not that easy.
Yeah, but it's still there. Like still have to go to the gym. Like, even though it's not my priority, like if I don't go to the gym for at least 5 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week, I'll feel like, I don't know. I just feel like something's wrong with me.
Yeah. 3 definitely doesn't cut it anymore after you've been consistent for a while, because like we talked about, unless you're doing 3 full body days, which you can plateau from easily if you've done it for more than like 6 months, you're not going to get a lot out of just, I'm going to do chest and back once. I'm going to do pull once. I'm gonna do shoulders once and legs once. You've been working out for 10 years. You're gonna tell me that one time in the week is gonna get you something?
You're gonna you'll lose gains pretty quickly.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I think that now it's just embedded in our, like, there's never unless I get like incredibly hurt and I like can't walk anymore. Even then, I feel like I'm still gonna be
probably still doing pull-ups or something.
Yeah, I feel like if
crutches.
There's literally nothing on this planet that will stop me from working out in my life ever. Like, I feel like it's just so ingrained in my blood now that like it just doesn't exist. It's like it's like someone saying like you're not gonna eat today, or you're not gonna drink water, or you're not gonna breathe. Like, it's come to the point where that's like the gym that's what it is. It's part of my routine. Just like we brush our teeth in the morning. At some point in the day, I have to go to the gym.
I'd rather lift than eat.
No, yeah, me too. They obviously go hand in hand, but yeah, it's crazy because you're right. I mean, I talk to people that don't exercise, don't work out, and they make it seem like it's like life is here, and then the gym is like over here. Just like if I were to go fishing, like fishing is not my life, so fishing will be outside of my life. I do it because it's a hobby.
Yeah.
But like for some people, they think that gym is not inside. You know, like I said, how we eat, sleep, brush our teeth, take a shower.
Yeah.
Fucking, I don't know if you have a dog, walk your dog. Like the gym is one of those things. It's not like it's an extra. It's there. You know what I mean?
And a lot of people don't understand a good physique is just an average of that person's habits, exercises, and nutrition. And here's the problem. You're going to build a good average up and down, back and forth. This month I went, this next month, I went like once a week. Unfortunately, for people watching this who think that the gym is something that is outside of your life, quite frankly, you're literally maybe killing yourself, because you can look this up, Mayo Clinic, any organization of doctors online where they recommend exercise every day.
Yeah.
Or at least physical activity, not necessarily lifting weights, but the fact that you're not active every single day, if you're not, that leads to you having a higher chance of getting many chronic illnesses, and not like a little bit percent more, a lot. We're talking big numbers, maybe 30, 40% more likely, because in essence, since you're not really burning a lot of calories in terms of your activity, and you're not moderating a lot of the food that you're eating, what happens? You're always in the surplus, and that does not bode well for you. Yeah, no, I think that it's weird to like require anyone to do anything, but I think that if we have to require people to do something, I think that everybody should exercise, because not only does it offer physical benefits, like you were saying, with your health and whatnot, but I think there's a lot of mental benefits that come with exercise. I think that a lot of people would be a lot more productive, a lot more happy, if they worked out. They would be a lot less insecure. A lot of people that don't exercise are probably the most insecure people I know. Don't get me wrong. Some people that work out are equally insecure. Yeah. But I think that, just mentally, the act of pushing your body in a physical way, unlike anything else, other than if you were stuck in nature and you needed to get out of a scary situation, somehow ties to our brain and offers us a release. And obviously, I know you release hormones when you work out that make you feel good and stuff like that. But there's a deeper meaning to exercise and the ability for you to be accomplishing a feat. You want to, I was going to say the cord got stuck, but no, you're good. I also wanted to ask you this, kind of relating to this topic. What do you think about like gym drama? Oh, have you ever been in like a gym? Let me backtrack real quick first. I'll ask this and then you can answer the next. Like, have you ever been part of a gym where it's like family type of culture? Like, kind of like, you ever go to LA Fitness over here? I have. I used to go there.
Oh, you used to go there. Okay.
Yeah.
You know how everyone's like kind of cool with each other?
Yeah. It's like I almost, not cult. What's a better word? A lighter word for that? Like a club.
Yeah. It's like a club.
Like a little club.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about? I mean, I'm sure you've experienced gym drama, but what are your thoughts on that?
So, I've seen some good things in my life that comes from that. I've seen some bad things. For sure, the sense of community is really nice to have in a gym, especially when you walk into a gym and like people know you. And this works, I think, in a smaller gym setting. Like I love small box gyms, which are not like commercial gyms, and they still have a lot of equipment and they have a competitive kind of crowd of people who go there.
Yeah.
But it's family. Those people tend to be more tight knit. You know, there's some kind of affairs that happen here and there, but for the most part, it's a good community.
Yeah.
Here's the problem though. Kind of community in a commercial gym, there's a lot of people. And the more people you get and the more diverse the people are, the less likely they are to get along, in my opinion.
Yeah,
especially when it comes to when they're competing for resources, which is the weights. So it comes to a point where people kind of, they don't really have a time to go before work and they go after work, right? And we all know the peak time of a gym is around 7 p.m., 5 p.m. You go off, I get off a long day of work and you're like, you know, my doctor said I have to work out, so I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And then boom, all these freaking people. And you're nice and you say hi to people while you're waiting for stuff. But in reality, you're like, dude, what the fuck? You know, like I want to work out.
Yeah.
And it's like impossible. So it becomes a point where, people might be cool with each other, especially the people that are already fit. But I'll tell you something, the people that are still trying to get there, they certainly don't like it. They don't like to see two people talking over a machine while they need to do hamstring curls because they're too weak to do RDLs with even dumbbells. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I mean, LA Fitness, I never get myself involved in drama. I think the thing that pisses me off the most is when people talk shit about other people in the gym when they go work out. Like,
That's so weird.
I think it's so weird too.
Yeah.
Right? Have you been with somebody who's worked out like that before? Like,
I've never kind of I've heard of this. Like when I used to go with Lawrence, we used to know other people at the gym and they would like talk and like tell stories about other people, but I never heard anything really bad per se, you know, but there's some things I heard. I'm like, that's weird. You know?
Yeah, I feel like the gym is like should be more of like a community where everybody gets along, because at the end of the day, like especially like bodybuilding and like, you know, powerlifting and even mixed martial arts, boxing, but I don't like when things get super cliquey. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's just me because I went to the University of Florida has its own gym, and that gym was like super fraternity cliquey, and people would literally just go there, talk shit and fucking bullshit with one another about other people in the gym, and this girl's this guy's that, you know, that guy's taking this girl is fucking has fake boobs. It's like, I don't know. I think that's I don't think it helps the newbies in the gym.
No, it doesn't.
I think it just makes it worse for them. It makes it like feel like the gym's a toxic environment. And unfortunately, a lot of times people get this bad rap from people that go to the gym because of these reasons. People think that people that go to the gym think that they have that they're on top of the world. They're better than everybody else.
It's because of this bad club behavior and community behavior that you get that kind of societal or pop culture impression. Like, oh, people who go to the gym are conceited. They're vain. Think they're better than everyone else. And while yes, they've seen a lot of people who are probably just in the intermediate phase of working out. They're not even that aesthetic. They go in the gym to talk. They don't even go in to work out. And like they're hearing those people talk, but they don't see the guy in the corner who he's been working out like us for 10 years, headphones in. Maybe he'll talk to network a little bit, but in reality, he's there to hit some heavy weight and hit it hard. He's not there to talk.
No, 100%. I don't think the gym being a social area is a bad thing. I'm just saying that I think that you know, the environment of having like a toxic culture is definitely not good, and it definitely takes away the purpose of going to the gym, because like you said earlier, the nicest guys in the gym will be the guys that are typically look the best.
Yeah.
There are assholes that look really good. You know, they look really good, that are, you know, just mean people, but most of the time the guy with the nicest physique will be the nicest dude you ever get in contact with, because they're typically the ones that work the hardest for their physique.
Yeah, and that hard work really humbles them down and makes them think like, hey, I remember what it was like to be new, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't think it being social in gym is bad. It becomes bad when negative behavior is reinforced.
Yeah, exactly.
And quite frankly, it's reinforced a little bit for sure.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Especially, I mean, I would like to say especially amongst women, but especially amongst dudes. And one of the biggest things is when dudes call other dudes out for taking steroids when they either don't, or even if they do, like, why the fuck like, what does it matter? You know, like, who cares? Let him do his thing. Even though we were just talking about not take steroids, like if someone does take steroids, I'm not gonna like hate them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna go out and fucking talk to Chris, be like, oh, he's on steroids. You know, that's why he looks good. I just leave him alone. But yeah, that's one of the things that I've seen a lot in commercial gyms, but I'm saying my school gym, LA Fitness too. And then there's fights that happen in the gym. You ever see that shit before?
Fights at the basketball
Yeah,
court.
you ever see that shit?
I have. I've had a lot of good laughs from that.
Yeah, dude, the fucking cops are storming LA Fitness.
To stop a basketball pickup game.
You've seen that? You've seen that before, right? Yeah. Have you ever seen what happened in person?
No,
I've seen a guy fucking throw a ball at some guy's head, and the other guy turned around and fucking tried to kick the other guy, and the dude grabbed his leg and flipped him, and then him and the guy who flipped the guy and his boy started beating this guy on the ground. I was like fucking 16 at the time. I was watching it happen from like, you know, the LA Fitness basketball courts.
Yeah,
I was watching it happen from where they used to have you remember the cedar row machine?
No,
I don't remember. It was like right there. It wasn't my fucking fight to go and try to mediate.
Yeah.
So I just left that one for them. But yeah, no, I think that gym drama is bad. That's put the cap on that. But I did want to hit on one last point before we kind of close out this podcast. I wanted to talk to you about anybody out there that's watching this that may feel like they, you know, don't or shouldn't join the gym, or they shouldn't, you know, kind of get a part of this lifestyle. What would be like your biggest piece of advice to them?
Do it. Go. And
I'll give you later.
I'll give you a good reason why. At the end of the day, it's going to take you time to figure out stuff. I would say invest a good 5 to 6 years before you truly figure things out. So just keep that timeline. But I like a lot how this one author, Tim Ferriss, talks about it. He's not like the most fit person in the world, but he has, for what the most part a person could strive to be in terms of physique and like aesthetics and like training. Just think about the long-term investment and just go in. You don't even have to go in for a full hour. If it's like your first week in the gym, I would recommend 30 minutes. Just go in, lift some stuff, maybe do some machines. You don't have to go crazy because, quite frankly, you just need to get what I'd recommend is do the full body 3 times a week. Look up beginner stuff, do research, you know, it's going to take time. Just keep that in mind. Like, it'll take time, but I'll get there. And just repeat that to yourself every day, because eventually when you're in the gym with that positive energy, you're going to meet people like me and Matt, and we're going to say hi to you despite what you might think we think of the way you look, which, by the way, we don't give a fuck at all. You're going to then get that help eventually. And I've seen this a lot with gyms of good social environments, which is also another thing to look out for. Other people for free just want to help others. There's like, even though I, for the most part, somewhat charge because I'm a trainer, I can't tell you how much free advice I've just given out just because I'm like, you know what? I feel nice. Someone asked me. Like, I've never had someone ask me and then ever had the urge to just not tell them the full truth or just tell them, no, I'm busy. You know, so definitely don't be afraid to ask that guy or girl in the gym that you find inspiring. Walk up to them, learn their name, say hi, build a relationship. And then maybe when they're like comfortable with you and whatnot, and it looks like they have time, they're just on their phone, ask them how they did what they did and try it out.
Yeah, and if not, tell them old school Matt says fuck them. No, seriously. I mean, I would never even imagine like telling someone to fuck off at the gym. I mean, I've seen it before. I've seen dudes be, and don't get us wrong, bro. There's plenty of fucking hard heads in the gym.
Especially if they've been on the...
Yeah, there's plenty of fucking motherfuckers at the gym. Excuse my French. But for the most part, I would even go as far as say 80 to 90% of the people out there that are in the gym, we want more people like us. Like, we want to make more friends. If anyone ever came up to me in the gym, I'd ask them if we're training the same thing, hey, you fucking want to work in with me? Like,
yeah,
who are you? Let's fucking talk. If you need help, let me know. And a lot of this goes for, like, let's just say the younger guys, but also the guys that have never, you know, stepped in the gym before, and you know, they think that it's out of their comfort zone or out of their league. I think that it's a good stepping stone for them to be able to realize that this shit's important. You know, it's important to fucking be in good health. It's important to make sure that you stay in good shape, and it's important that you get your mind right and not feel like, you know, just because this guy or that guy looks like this, that you can't potentially look like that one day. And don't rush into things, you know?
And I guess the last thing I'd want to say to the women who are listening to this,
Yeah.
lift heavy. Don't listen to society telling you need to stay skimpy and do just banded walks and body weight squats. Trust, you're going to get that effeminate physique that you want if you lift heavy.
Exactly. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day that maybe I'll get one of my, I got to get some more females on this podcast.
I shouldn't want to leave the ladies out.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I do need to, I do want to have some females on the podcast talk about this type of stuff. Because at the end of the day, that's a big common misconception. Anyone out there, real quick, like what Chris said, that thinks you're going to get too big from working out, you will not. Like
No.
You know what I'm saying? Have you heard of that shit before? Right?
Yeah, it's insane how people think like, oh, if I try too hard, I'm gonna look like Arnold.
Yeah, no, I promise you, you probably won't even look like. I promise you, if you try as hard as you can, you won't even look half of like Arnold. You know what I'm saying?
They had to take the drugs that we discourage you from not taking in order to get to that point.
No disrespect, but like it's very difficult to build an absurd amount of muscle like that, and it's and if that's something that you want to do, and you want to lift heavy, you want to do these things, but you're afraid that you're going to get too big, like I said, just look it up online. Look at the fucking effort these people go through. Not just taking drugs, but like they literally live this shit day in, day out, bodybuilders and stuff like that. And, me and Chris both know the struggle, but at the end of the day, don't let your insecurities, don't let like hesitation make you feel like you can't go into the gym or can't work out or can't, and not even just get into the gym, but let's say you want to try, learn how to box, or you want to try powerlifting, you want to try weightlifting or calisthenics or whatever it is. Like just fucking, like you said, just get into it, just do it. Just try it out. If you're terrible at it, then fucking move on to something else. And if you want to learn more, get better if you're terrible. And everything will be great. There's a lot of people out there willing to help and educate you on the things that they do. Chris just started making his page. And I'm sure he'll be making more free stuff on there for people to learn and, understand. But I've been doing fucking my Instagram page and social media stuff for probably almost 2 years now, 2.5 years. Even longer if you count my stuff back in the day, but like I give out free knowledge all the time. That's what this podcast is about, and most of the stuff I put out there is obviously free shit that I've lived through. So we're willing to help. We want to help, but yeah,
it's a lot of this information like you talked about, it's out there.
Yeah,
it's for free.
Yeah, it's out there already.
But here's the problem: either you have to have the time to sort through it and have that effort,
yeah,
or maybe you need to talk to a professional and then consider outsourcing that.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm just mainly talking about the basics of our stories we want to share. A lot of times, the details and the devil in the details, you might need some guidance and some help with. But for the most part, you can read about pretty much anybody's life on social media now, and you could see the progression of how I first started working out. Chris, I'm sure if they look through your page, your personal page, look at how you were before, like. All this stuff, we pretty much put it out there, and if you really want to know, all this stuff, it's possible. It's very possible. It takes a lot of work to get to where we are, but we could be even better. I'm sure me and you could be even better than we are now. We don't do this for a living in terms of like just bodybuild and try to get as strong as we can. So it's like even the way me and Chris look right now, you can be better than us.
You can,
yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
Trust me, you can definitely beat my meal prepping plans.
Exactly. You can always be better. So don't think that there's like even a limit though. Like how kind of reversing what we were saying before, like you're not going to be as big as Arnold, but you can look as good as you want to look. I promise you can look that way eventually. So, but anyways, bro, it's been a good podcast. Real quick, just to let people know where they can find you. I know we said at the beginning, but if anyone else is hanging on to the end or is checking this out, where can people find your new page, Chris?
Got you. So on IG, Lapu Lifts, and that's LAPU Lifts. And my personal account, it's Chris V. Feel free to follow me on there too.
For sure. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching this podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace, bro.
Peace.
50 minutes flat. That was good.
Thank you guys for checking out this video. Make sure to go check out all of our other podcasts, Buffalo Barbecues, our Buffalo Workouts, and also a slew of other things, including challenges and whatnot. So make sure to check out all of these different things. Thank you guys for watching. I am Old School Matt here, and this is Water Buffalo TM. Peace.